Recommendations.
Because the acidity of the Riesling really kind of cuts the richness of those cheeses, and they are
Yes.
rich cheeses. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea was to kind of bring balance between the two. So if you
Right.
have the raclette, it's a beautiful cheese in my opinion.
It's got to be delicious. I don't have the raclette or the Havarti, but it's do that.
All right, cool. I'll tag you next time.
This Galerie Riesling. So yeah, pour yourself a glass. You already have, hopefully, but let's have a little sip. Yum. So you know what? The first, but it tastes a little. What do you think, Tesh?
I think I don't know. I would call it dry too.
Okay.
That's just me.
I just thought I had COVID and I think things you can't really taste. Probably my palate is off a little bit tonight.
You know what? That's okay. That's okay.
But no, it's not. It's with a little residual sugar, but I'm just gonna talk about that right now.
Talk about it, Joni. What is residual?
It has let's see, grams.
Oh, wow.
Okay, of residual sugar. And according to, kind of like is considered sweet. So
the perceivable sweetness, right?
Perceivable sweetness.
Right.
But so it makes sense that 8.8 grams would taste a little bit. Well, so the point of it is Rieslings are enjoyed both sweet and dry. It's also, there's a lot of that come from Napa Valley, and least of which from.
Do you know of any other?
Of other Rieslings that we've been told, but I don't know what they are from Spring Mountain. There's not Riesling vineyards in a real estate. It just so happens that these vineyards are planted there. They've been there a long time, and the original winemaker of Galerie, Laura Diaz Munoz, did not want them to pull it up. She said, "Listen, man, I'd love to make a little bit of Riesling out of this." So they let her, so very much of it at all. It's just what Tesh knows about because he used to work with it at the kitchen. So he kind of asked me what about that Galerie Riesling? Are they still making that wine?
What's the kitchen?
The kitchen, some place where he used to work long time ago.
I'm actually dying to go back to the kitchen. We were supposed to go sometime this month. In January. First time going back since. Joni, somebody wants to know. My buddy Chris wants to know.
Acidity in here and that little bit of sugar. It would be fantastic in 5 to 10 years, really.
Which is really unique. Like people kind of, and people are like the gas. I'm like, yeah, it smells like
gasoline.
Petrol. Yeah, laying down wine. Are some okay to keep for a long time and some not? Yes, that is true. Depending on the acidity level of the wine, depending on how the wine was made, if it's soft, and how long you can lay down a wine for. Tannin in the wine, that's going to help.
First place.
Absolutely. Yeah, all of that stuff is going to make a big difference. So yes, Marianne, some are okay to keep for a long time and some are not. And I don't even want to say you can't try keeping them. You can try keeping them. It's like people there's a lot of Facebook groups that'll pop up and they'll say people will have this question I just came up on this wine. It's from the year 2000, whatever, right? And the question is always, is it drinkable? Is it going to be good? Pop it, drink it. There's no way to know unless you know how it's been, what storage conditions it's been aged in, right? Still temperature, low temperature, a nice cool environment. Unless you know those things, you're not really going to know unless you pop and drink it. Yes, Steva, the cork does allow for a small amount of oxygen for aging, right? It allows a little bit of breathability. That being said, right, the wine, the bottle should be laid down on its side. You got to keep that cork moist. Mm-hmm. And if you're not doing that, your bottles are just not going to last long enough if you're planning on aging something. So
unless you're aging this Riesling and it's a screw cap, so you don't have to worry about that.
Correct. Right? So that is a benefit of a screw cap in that case. We're getting sidetracked.
It's okay.
Hang on. No, that's okay.
Right? When you're talking about Riesling, all these things come up.
These are really good questions, guys. I'm so proud of you. No, these are really good questions. Okay, so going back to this Riesling now, and I'm glad that I've seen a couple of people say that this Riesling is tasty. Christine, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It is one of my favorites. It really is. I've had it for years, and it's one of the ones that I do. Joni knows. I keep going back to. It's one of those wines like every year at some point I might be like, "What about Galerie Riesling?"
It's
that?
true.
Let's
They
talk
still
about
making that?
Yeah,
You
they're
know
still
the
doing
funny
that,
thing?
right?
They weren't going to make it again.
Really?
And they may not make the next vintage. They tease us about this every year. We run out of it. They don't make a lot. It's not even something, it's kind of like one of those little kind of, I wouldn't say secret, but small little wines that not people don't pay a lot of attention to unless they know about it, which is one of the things I like about it. But they teased us with the fact that there's not enough, and there is a new winemaker. It's not Laura Diaz Munoz anymore. Chris Carpenter actually was in here for a little bit, who's of Cardinal La Hota fame.
He's a G. He's a G.
But now Gianna Kelly is the winemaker, and we're still waiting to find out if she's, going to be working with the Riesling. And she started in 2019, so this is the 18. But anyway, we'll enjoy it while it's here. It's delicious. There's not much of it. I am really excited that we're drinking it tonight.
Me too.
Should we talk more about it?
Yeah. So like, what's the aging process, the winemaking process for this Riesling? Real quick, Trang, I'm glad that you're enjoying this, and I'm glad that it's hitting close to the wine that you were looking for, because when you were describing it to me, this is the one I was like, I think you're really gonna like this. So I'm really glad to hear that you are liking it. So good. So cool. Sorry, Joni, tell us about the winemaking process for this wine.
Okay, well, first of all, like we already talked about, it has a tiny little bit of residual sugar, but there is actually a little bit of neutral oak. They ferment it on oak puncheons just for the fermentation, and then they bring it over to concrete egg. Do we know about concrete egg? And then French puncheon. What?
I think you should tell us about what's special about concrete eggs, because I think that people may have heard of like using it as a wine aging tool, right? But I don't think that people realize like how cool concrete eggs are.
The best that what I know, what I've heard, and the best that I can come up with in describing it is the reason why winemakers love to use concrete eggs is because there's something about the shape of the egg. It is egg shaped, and it's larger than a barrel of wine, but smaller than a tank. But the way that it's shaped, it allows the I think the flavors to kind of rise and come back down. It creates this kind of what would you call that flow of esters and flavors that kind of keep it in one place and bring more complexity to the wine. Does that make sense? And there's no oxygen coming through like in a barrel. So it's not an oxygenated atmosphere, but it definitely keeps all of the complex flavors moving around and mixing into the wine. And so it makes it fresher. And
it also adds a lot of texture to the wine.
Exactly. Yes. Right. The creaminess, I think you're probably getting this is a rich wine. I was thinking today when I opened it up, cold outside, right? You usually want to pour yourself a glass of red wine. And this is a perfect winter wine. And I was thinking, what makes it a perfect winter wine? Well, some of it is just that richness, the texture that Tesh was just talking about. Some of it is that it has a lot of flavor and it goes with a lot of foods, a lot of winter foods, richer foods. So yeah, it's a great winter wine.
Totally. Hey, Diana, what do you mean by how's it stored? So we're talking currently about how it's aged for a short period of time in neutral oak, and they use a little bit of concrete eggs. So let me know what you mean by how it's stored. Are you talking about like temperature wise? Because this is a wine that you probably want to just toss in your refrigerator. right? And let it come down a little bit in temperature. I personally don't like it that cold. I like, so one of my wine fridges, I keep at about 45 to 50 degrees. And I keep my white wines in there that I'm gonna drink because I like my white wines at that temperature, slightly more than refrigerator temperature. It gets a little too cold. Or barreled. Yeah, so neutral oak barrels, and as well as the concrete eggs.
So just to be clear, it's being fermented in the neutral oak barrels, and then it's moved over to the concrete egg. 90% of the wine is moved over to a concrete egg, and then the rest of it is in puncheons, which is neutral oak, and then a little bit in, what's the other one? Sorry, it's right here. Yeah, 10% is neutral oak. Yeah, so we'll just say those two.
So Jurassic Park has a big influence with those concrete eggs, according to our Instagram page. Dinosaurs need wine too, cuz.
I didn't know that, but I'll take it.
We did.
Okay.
What are some flavors? What are some aromas that you pick up on, Joni? This is your wine. I want to know what you think about it. I love it. Obviously, year after year, I keep coming back to it, right? But what do you love about it?
I don't know. I think I'm getting peach, a lot honeysuckle, you know, a lot of floral quality, kind of a ginger quality, kind of spices that get it on the mid palate. Really nice, long enjoying it. It just puts a smile on your face.
That is a good way to describe it. It just puts a smile on your face. Okay. I'm smiling. I ask when I say things like, this is a wine that I've carried over the year and back to. I don't just say those things. Really, these are wines that I believe in, and they genuinely are wines that, like, year after year, I'm like, I want to try the new vintage of that because I'm really drawn back to it. So I hope you guys love this Riesling as much as I do. It's totally drinkable on its own. If you want to pair it with something, pair it with the spicy Asian dishes too. I think that. So I hope you guys love it as much as I do. Joni, do you have anything else? Joni on the show because she's this is somebody was like, you Sloppy Joe's Sangiovese and Sloppy Joe's, really, Tesh? And I was like, Sloppy Joe's and Sangios. That's the thing. We'll do more. I'm a huge Riesling. Most Soms like crack out on Riesling. We do. And Riesling is very refreshing for people who taste a lot of wine to come back to something that has real high acid.
And a lot of complexity. And also it's almost always low alcohol.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, yeah, you can drink a lot of it and not get like straight schnockered. You know what I mean? Through tonight. So yeah, it's going to be a fun night. Joni, thank you for walking us through the Riesling. We appreciate you. Please,
I will be talking about the next wine. I'll just be enjoying it with you.
Yes, Christine, my favorite pairings while I was at Ella, especially with hot, makes it a whole different level, right? You get that Riesling. It's beautiful together. So I'm glad that you're enjoying that. All right, so I'm gonna finish my glass here. And yes, Joni, stay and hang out.
I will, thank you.
If you guys have any more questions, hit us up on Facebook and